Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to Britain's only desert, Dungeness. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. I'm sure I butchered that name, but anyways, guys, as soon as I saw this, I knew I had to check it out. I had no idea that you guys even had a desert in the UK. Obviously, this is the only desert that you guys supposedly have, but it's surprising enough that you would have any type of desert in the UK. It's not something I really expected. This is the first I'm hearing about this, but the thumbnails kind of look like a desert or what I would expect from the desert. But I must be honest, right here on this image right here with all the green grass and the flowers, it's not exactly what I picture when I think about a desert, but who knows? I have no idea what to expect here, guys. I just thought this would be very interesting. So let's just go ahead and dive in and check out Britain's only desert, Dungeness. Please, guys, let me know in the comments how you pronounce that, or I'm sure they'll probably pronounce this correctly on here, and then I'll know how to pronounce it. So anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this and check this out. The Dungeness Estate. I'm going to say it's Dungeness. It does resemble a desert. It definitely does. I don't really see all the sand, but something about it definitely resembles a desert to me. Kind of has that, just has that vibe. Like these kind of plants is what I expect to see in a desert. So, and you can tell it looks very rocky. I don't see sand, but I see a lot of like, I don't know, pebbles, stones or something. It's interesting.
A unique landscape in this country. It's the largest shingle landmass in Europe.
Shingle landmass.
And it's a place people drive onto or come on the train, and they're just not quite sure about it. It's a unique. I know the word is used a lot, but it is in this case, I feel, appropriate for Dungeness. You've got
Dungeness, okay.
Low-lying residential housing with two tall lighthouses, a nuclear power station, a little train which brings in 100,000 visitors into the point, popular with fishermen, commercial boats, film crews. It's just a bizarre landscape, and it keeps me very busy, but also it's an area where it appeals to so many people.
It is an interesting landscape. Okay, now that looks desertish to me. Yeah, definitely. It's just got that vibe. I must say, I'm very curious now, what is the definition of a desert? You know, I've never really looked at that. You know, it's just when I think of a desert, I think most of us, when we think of a desert, we think of just this very sandy place, this very harsh, there's limited water, and, you know, see just these interesting types of plants like cactuses and, you know, a few other interesting type of plants. You don't generally see a lot of grass, but here, you do see quite a bit of some form of grass, but it does have that desert vibe, but it's just different from what I know as a desert. So now I'm curious what makes this a desert, or maybe I don't really even know what the definition of a desert is. So maybe it has nothing to do with, you know, what I normally think of as a desert, but definitely looks very desolate. It's got that vibe of a desert, like the desolate vibe. Right? It's just, it looks a little bit different. It's interesting. I definitely see what he means, that this is a very bizarre landscape, because it's definitely something unique within the UK, I think. It's definitely something I wouldn't expect to find in the UK. It's just kind of got this vibe. It's very interesting. Do you guys see that? Do you see what I'm saying? It's just kind of it's a very interesting vibe. Yeah, that looks like that gives me that desert vibe. And did he say this is shell? Is that what he said this was? Just, it's interesting. Boat in the middle. It's just really, really interesting. So are these people coming up here and then getting on this little train and then they're okay? It must be they're getting dropped back off at the parking lot, I suppose. And then I wonder where it goes.
I've said 1 million visitors, yet we can very quickly lose any impression that you're surrounded by lots and lots of visitors. You're in an open landscape, wonderful big skies here, and it's a place I've worked for 20 years now, and I really do love Dungeness. But it's a taste. There will be people who find the power station, the windswept, the greyness, the coldness, or the harshness of the environment and the landscape down there not to their liking. So
I like it. I think it's kind of cool. It's just unique.
I'm not sure about Dungeness, and other people are desperate to move to Dungeness or come on holiday or visit it on a regular basis. So it's a place I would describe as Marmite. You either love it or you hate it.
Marmite. Yeah, that's the type of it's interesting. I can't explain it. It is very, very interesting. It's just not what I would expect in the UK. He's absolutely right. This is just so unique for what I would expect. Looks like some very interesting plants there. And I wonder what that guy does. Says he's worked here for 20 years, all right? Isn't that what he said? It does. It's got that desert vibe, man. But I can definitely see this being the type of place that you, like you said, the Marmite situation, like you either love it or hate it. I've always loved deserts. I don't know why they fascinate me. And although this looks different from the type of deserts I'm used to picturing in my head, like if you go to Nevada or Arizona, you can actually, it's like actual, like the desert that you picture in your head, just sand and just very, very desolate. No plants really, except maybe some cactuses and some other, desert plants, limited water, very hot, that type of vibe. I love that. And so I actually like this as well. It's just, I like the desolate feel. I don't know if I'd want to live in that desolate area like that, but it's definitely a type of place I like visiting and going to. I definitely like to check this out. I still don't quite understand it, but it's very unique. Very unique. That must be is that the nuclear power plant? I don't see the towers. Maybe that wasn't it. I think it was though. So it's like a desert without sand. It's like a desert with. Did he say this was shell? I think that's what he said. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember, but it's just full of that stone or that pebble or whatever that is. It's very interesting. Where did all that come from? Look at that. Where did all this come from? It's amazing. There's a lighthouse. So it's a desert on the coast. It has to be.
Well, I've been once or twice before, once by rail, which is fascinating, and I think this area is quite unusual. I don't think you'll find it anywhere else in England. Quite creepy, unusual.
It does seem, it has that very...
abandoned ships and boats and...
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Very fascinating vibe here. Look at that. That is so cool. Dude, that is so cool, man. It's got that desert vibe, but it's not sand. It's something else. I think I can't remember exactly what he said. I'd have to go back and check, but it's actually, I guess, on the coast because it has this lighthouse. It had the abandoned ship there. So interesting. So this at some point must have been underwater, I guess. It's interesting. Okay. Look at the sky, man. There's the ocean or the sea. I don't know exactly where this is I don't know what part of England this is in, but I'm guessing that's the sea. I don't think that's the ocean. That is so interesting.
Having arrived here, it certainly is fascinating. It's not quite what I expected, but it looks really interesting. All these little sort of cottages, I suppose you'd call them, timber buildings that look fascinating, and the pebble beach and whatnot. So far, so good.
Yes. Many artists, painters and fashion shoots, film crews come to Dungeness through the course of a year. People like coming down here in the winter when it's really hostile, gales are blowing, it's
oh, I bet, because it's off the coast.
It's just a array of colour of where the flowers have emerged, from the viper's bugloss to the sea kale to the yellowhorn poppies, and then it all dies away, gets very brown and crispy into the autumn. So you've got the seasons on what Dungeness would be classed as the nearest thing in this country to a desert.
That's interesting. I wonder where that goes. Does it just drive around the area and let you see just Dungeness? I think they hopped on that in the parking lot over there, and then it must just go around in a circle or something. All right, guys. That was really interesting. So, like I said, this is the closest thing that you guys could class as a desert. It's not exactly your conventional desert, as we've already, kind of talked about. But I would say this is a desert. I mean, I get what he's saying. It looks like a desert. It has the vibe of a desert, but it doesn't have the sand. It has pebble of some sort, and it's right on the coast. So it's very interesting. Definitely a place I'd like to just come and check out. It seems like he said, it's very unique. If you're in the UK, this has got to be a very unique place to check out, because it's just, unless you already know about it, like now that I do, if I was to just come across this, I can understand what he's saying. It's a very interesting vibe, especially for the UK. From what I understand, out of all the places I've checked out in the UK and stuff, this is I don't know, it's something about this I wouldn't expect. It's something completely different. It really does have the vibe of a desert. What do you guys think? Would you guys call this a desert? I would. It's like I said, it's not a desert with sand and cactuses and stuff, but it is. I don't know how else you would class this. I mean, it basically is like a desert. So, interesting. So have any of you guys in the comments ever been here? What did you think about it? Did you find it to be very unique compared to the other landscapes that you're used to in the UK? I'm guessing you probably did. And I'd love to know, so is the entire area, it looks like, is it just covered in this pebble, whatever this is? And if it is, how deep is that? And so, am I correct in basically the reason this pebble is here is because at some point in the past this was underwater, and it's just the sea level went down over time or something? But if so, it's been down for a long time to have all these cottages built along here, and you had the lighthouse in the middle of this area and stuff. But This is interesting, guys. If anyone's been here, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments. But all right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.